Quarters, quarters, everything.
Meeting to order.
I got 7 still.
Stand for the pledge, please. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You guys are all trained. Can I make a motion with ours yet? Never here anyway.
Any public comment today? Okay, Andy, we'll start off with you.
I'm waiting on Ori to get back. He said he was gonna have something else drawn up, but, so I'm waiting on him at this point, and really nothing else this morning.
Drawn up for what?
The smart lock.
Specifically what? I mean,
Another
Need
contract, basically, because the interest has gone down, and, basically, he said he was gonna give me another contract when I talked to him last, so.
Okay. So are we still on the clock for the end, the end of September, right? That was when
That's the next month.
the 9th month, I told. Hold on, let me look that up. About the, government subsidies / benefits, on solar power.
He seemed to think that we would fall within that period. I mean, he had mentioned that like, we had to.
Get on the.
I actually thought I had it from him by now, but I mean, contact him afterwards. Let's see.
How are we on actually getting paper between the health department? I mean, I assume with the change in interest, that's gonna change the numbers just a touch, but I mean, do we got an outline and figured out who all needs to sign it and stuff?
I haven't yet, but
Okay.
I guess I'm kinda waiting on, I was waiting on him to get this and then go to the
Sure.
state's attorney with all the rest of the stuff.
Okay.
I'll get with him after, like I said, I thought I'd hear from him by now. but
Did you
I
guys do the buildings and grounds meeting committee about, like, my concern is everybody on the same page, we're all good, smart watt.
Yeah, we did have that
We did have
meeting
it,
sorry.
and yeah. And I think we kind of, I think there's a study session you missed a couple weeks ago, when was it? We had one and discussed at the study session also, and I think everybody's on the same page and.
Okay.
Did he indicate from the time we signed this agreement, how long it'd be before they'd be able to get started on the project?
No, and I think a lot of that depends on, I mean, these guys are obviously doing stuff all the time.
Right.
If we commit and give them a contract, and say, okay, we're ready, then they'll give us, I think, a time frame on it.
Yeah. I was just thinking last night that, just like at the jail, part of that project is replacing the boiler. If they don't start till winter time, is that gonna
Effect. That.
be without any heat for a week?
Well, and that.
Tearing the old out and
Two loads in the cell.
And that was in the contract, 'cause I mean, they have subcontractors that are gonna do the work. And there is something specified in the contract about, I'm trying to remember how they had it worded, but that they can't stop the usage and the ongoing use of the facilities.
Right.
So basically by contract, they can't just pull the jailer out of the boiler out of the jail and say, well, sorry, you don't have heat in here for a month.
Chilly for a few days.
Yeah, so, the buildings will all be maintainable and usable through the period, so.
Yeah.
And they had said that, that the health department, they may come in and work some weekends, just because no one's there, you don't have to work around anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, of course, the jail's a 24-hour a day
Right.
thing.
When you talk to him, you might ask him, like, if we get this contract in the next month or so, as far as the jail, how soon they're gonna start
Okay.
on the light, they've got lighting and plumbing and stuff like that,
Okay.
to see how soon they,
Is there
I
a
would
chance
think-
be germane to our insurance conversation?
Well,
so,
One way or the other, I imagine it is.
yeah.
see what,
In fact, I mean, given the fact that, like, the boiler and things, maybe tell them to do that part first,
Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
so we don't run into, I mean, September, October, yeah.
I can't imagine there's any way realistically they're going to start the boiler project until next spring. Now the lighting and the plumbing and stuff, you're right, we might be able to kinda bite them and get that done
Yeah.
sooner. But I mean, yeah, you can't start a major heating project
I
and,
don't have a clue on how they would even have no guess as far as what's involved there. I mean, if it's
yeah.
something they can roll into the facility, right? I mean, they're not gonna have
The
to
boiler?
they're not gonna fabricate something in the jail.
No, they're gonna, they looked and I remember they said they're gonna come in that side door and come down those steps.
But then they gotta re-plumb everything,
Yeah.
is the assumption.
A lot of replumbers. I don't know, you remember what month they put it in at the health department? I don't remember either, I remember even doing
I
it,
don't remember when, no, I don't remember.
but. Okay.
Doesn't take them very long.
No, it doesn't
It's
take-
just a one small thing.
Of course,
And
they're,
yeah, and they may be able to bring it in and just,
I think
you
a
know,
lot of
in an
it
hour and a
we can
half,
do it
switch everything
on the
over and
weekend.
get it going.
this weekend,
Yeah,
Well,
they
they-
did a weekend.
They said the old boiler, they're gonna have to take it out in sections at a time.
And that's, I mean,
That's
is there
what the
room to
health
put the new
department-
one
That
in?
was a monster.
That's what I had to do in the basement.
Took it out the side door.
Right.
and had to
Yeah.
hook it up there.
and did you see what they replaced it with?
Oh, yeah.
Cutting towards
Just a
the-
little,
The thing, yeah,
it's heavy.
yeah.
I'll get more of that information from him.
Yeah.
I'll try to contact him Saturday.
Mr. Bruno?
We had a meeting a couple weeks ago, and we asked Andrew to contact some of the counties and ask them their policy on FRRs. So if you look at the first page, Coles County, Douglas County, and Clark County, the one we kind of liked was Coles County, and we took it and kind of made it fit Edgar County, because ours at the bottom has nothing really. It's called out, they're not really paid for it. They get comp hours, whereas Coles County, they get paid. Douglas County, they get paid per dog, which I thought probably would be too expensive. Clark County is, they only have one part-time employee, so that really didn't fit. So, second page, the one we came up with, so it's basically similar to Coles County. They are compensated 2 hours per night to be on call, and it's based on their hourly rate. And then pay 2 hours for a call out, and it may take longer, it may take less. And the main thing is the last statement says emergency call out only. So if they have an animal that's running around the yard somewhere, they're not gonna respond to it. So it's only for an injured or aggressive animal. So we like this. You can look it over and see what you think. I'd like to put it on the agenda for next meeting.
So basically, we'll be looking at, from the payroll standpoint, paying for 14 more hours a week on their salary. And the one question I would have, I mean, I assume being on call doesn't go towards overtime, but
No.
do we have issues with the additional 2 hours? You know, let's say Andrea puts in a 40-hour week and then she makes 2 calls, you know, 2 calls overnight at 2 hours per call. Are we gonna be on the hook for paying that at overtime rate, or does that keep it same rate? I mean, I just,
Same thing, it's not gonna be overtime.
okay, I just
It has
think,
to be.
Has to be law.
But, yeah, if they work over 40 hours, it has to be overtime rate.
unless they're ag workers, since it's animal control, can we call them ag workers, because they get 48 hours a week?
We can change it to per animal.
Yeah, I'm pretty
What
sure.
if you just
I-
keep the dollar amount the same, change the verbiage,
Yeah.
where it's just.
You,
it's
An
separate,
additional
it's
so
not-
many
it's not
dollars
an
rather
hour.
than an additional 2
Right.
hours.
Right. They're paid,
Yeah, I-
you know, I don't know, yeah, might be a
Yeah,
question
there
for
was so
Mark.
much per animal that they have to respond to.
I kinda like the incentive system, I mean, I want somebody out there, you know, snagging animals, right? So that Douglas
Right.
County, you know, you go out there, you gotta bring back a prize, you gotta get paid, right? If you wanna get your tickets, you gotta
You gotta fight.
hit the hundreds, yeah.
Jim and I have no problem with that, that's just the question
That's
I
what
have.
Isn't that your understanding?
It absolutely is.
Anything over
Anything
40
over
has to be
40, it
overtime.
has to
Already
be.
changed that.
If we do it by a bonus per animal rather
Per
than the
animal.
hours, is
Yeah,
I mean.
now, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I know you put in the hours and you go over 40, it's state and federal law.
Right.
Okay.
And in all fairness, it would, you know.
If you're an
the full and the
hourly, if you're an
part-time,
hourly person
Which
and you make under $50,000.
are, they both $1 an hour.
Well, it's only 2 hours per night to be on call.
Yes.
Would the other option be to change Andrea to salary rather than hourly?
I don't think.
She is on
Nobody's on.
She is on
considered
salary,
anymore.
Oh,
but this is
okay.
based on her salary. That's how it clears. So she makes
And there's no
28,000 a year,
you
so
can't just call
she's
somebody
on
salary.
call,
Right.
divide that by the number of hours
And
that
every-
she's on call. That's how
Right.
you come up with the hourly rate.
Obamacare,
Her hourly rate's not
Everybody
gonna be a
had
lot.
determined by an hourly rate. Wasn't that right? Everybody's determined by an hourly rate.
Yes.
Even if, I mean, they were all salary, but now you have to break it down to an hourly rate.
If you look in a budget, it gives her a salary of like 28,000.
Yeah, but she's still at an
Hourly
hourly rate.
yeah. I don't know, you wanna change it, make it per animal instead of per.
No, I'm joking about that.
No,
I think
we talked about that.
we need to talk to Mark and get some input on that, because if there's a way that we can implement the system that you guys selected and not incur extra costs
Right.
via the overtime piece, and then I'm perfectly happy with that. If the overtime comes into play, we need to make sure that we have the budget to handle that, because, you know, you got a worst case, and so it's on call plus, you know, a call a week at least, I have to think. I mean, I don't know how often she goes out.
Or they usually get about a call a week.
I'm not sure how many calls you get a week.
So,
Not that many.
that at all.
Well,
you guys might know how many rabbit endangered animals calls to go out on an average night.
They're not
Per
very
week.
many, too. Probably maybe one a week at that.
if they get called out, they're gonna minimum of an hour.
Mhm.
And that's-
At least.
That's time and a half, and here you're saying an additional 2 hours, so,
You're talking basically 3 regular hour, time and a half, three, basically pay for 3 hours, correct?
well, I'm just saying,
Probably gonna end up about the same if you go
Yes.
like per dog too.
right, to me, you just, you know, they get overtime, you pay them overtime.
Well, they should be compensated somehow. I mean,
Well,
say to be on call and go out and pick up an animal, it takes 2 hours,
Yeah.
and get paid nothing, that's not right.
Right,
So somehow they should be compensated.
right.
Pound, you know, so like it's a small cat.
We can work on it,
Be
yeah.
like a goat.
So you think it should be per animal or,
No,
okay.
I mean, what,
You guys making fun of Mark.
so if they go out and spend 2 or 3 hours and they don't catch an animal, then
Right.
they don't get anything, well,
I don't agree with
I
that.
don't agree with that. You know, just if they spend 2 hours or 1 hour, they get paid at overtime rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
And it's
only,
only when it's an emergency situation, and like,
But
Right.
still
And
being
can I
on
bring-
call, take on call out and leave simply if they make a aggressive animal, then they get paid for it. Otherwise, they don't get paid being on call.
yeah,
They don't
that's,
make a run.
that's the other issue that I hadn't even thought of, you know, with the overtime for fairness. Andrea's already on full-time, Linda isn't, so if Andrea's would be getting overtime time and a half for going out on the call, Linda would not be, so, you know, Andrea would actually be getting more for going out to catch the same dog, which I'm not really sure is fair for Linda.
Right.
I mean, they're both getting out of
Take
their
some type of
pajamas at
bonus.
11
If you
o'clock
make a
at
run, you
night.
get paid. If you don't make a
Dogs
run, you
cause a
don't
lot of
get paid.
trouble.
Yeah, and take the on call out.
You guys got yourself a real problem on your hands.
Yeah, sorry, I
You
confused
figure
you.
it out.
Yeah,
Get back
we
to
have
us.
a problem.
We'll give me a trained dog and they run all over the county and we're gonna make some money.
Yes, we are.
so you're
Didn't
gonna work
Clint
on it?
Eastwood have a movie like
Okay.
that once?
Yeah,
Alright.
we'll work on
Didn't
it.
Clint Eastwood have a movie like that?
John, do you have anything?
You got a gorilla.
It was an orangutan.
I don't have anything. Bill, you have anything?
Nope.
Derek?
No. Yeah.
Dude,
Right? I
what
mean,
is this?
I'll be glad to talk about something.
You screwed the
Just-
whole
just
day
give me a
up.
topic. I'll run with it.
Ever get the tanks for the airport?
No.
See, he said nothing and now you're getting
Yeah,
him
then now
started.
you're
I was
getting
feeling pretty good about
started.
myself, John. Thanks a lot. So last conversation I had with Barry in regards to the tanks, they said best case scenario was going to be the backside of September. So, which is, I mean, just a margin of error off the first part of July, which was the original projection.
Sure.
So, I mean, we're real close.
July, August.
It's all in the same
That's
year
only a couple,
right
3
now,
months.
right?
Yeah.
So if they got pretty well everything done, just kind of almost waiting to take some.
Yeah, so to my knowledge, right, so, I don't have any updates beyond what I passed last time when I was out there prior to the county board meeting, so,
Well, Jeff said last Thursday or Friday when I was talking to him, he said they were pouring the forms for the new tanks
okay,
to sit on.
right, so they had all the wires run and out of the ground, and they had sand or rock down, they didn't have any forms up that I recall seeing, so they're obviously making progress, I guess. So, I mean, you would think that everything can be poured, they just need to have, you know, because everything's been run, so they can pour everything, and so it'll just be a matter of resetting the tanks. And so then, once the tanks are moved, they will actually excavate that pad where the tanks currently sit and re-pour that. So that will be one of the final things they do.
Okay.
Any ambulance stuff?
Want to set
Any
the
more
next-
excited?
want to set the next committee meeting, 4th or the 6th?
God. What did we say last time? I know
Wednesday or
we said
Friday
something.
before the board meeting, which would be the 4th or the 6th.
You work Fridays? Well, I thought maybe that was your day off.
What's a day
Well, I
off
thought
for
you
Carl?
worked 4 and off 3.
You thought she was a farmer, could take any day off
I
you
work
wanted.
7 off 0.
I know that feeling.
What do you think? This is, I mean, Friday's
Either
kind
one
of your
for
day.
me,
Yeah,
um,
for you,
That'd be good in the morning.
for you.
You wanna get together
Wednesday's the
sometime
4th and
with her?
Friday's the 6th.
I'll talk to her first.
Any morning's fine.
I'll talk to her first and do Saturday.
Yeah, I mean,
What were
I'm
you
fine
saying
with the
before
compensation, I just wanna kind of make sure we have
I understand.
everybody
I
has a
see.
dollar
I just
line.
think
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
You recall,
Didn't think
right?
about it.
So crap.
I don't remember.
You wanna do it the morning?
Mornings, yeah, fine.
Friday at 11?
11? That's not morning, that's morning.
Cooking,
Look, I can't work for prima donnas, all right?
prime rib, prime rib.
You can serve, see. You haven't done that yet. What kind of
I'll
way
let you
off?
know.
Thank you.
Getting nervous, Augie?
We're stare at each other for a little bit. You'll be fine.
That window, it'd be all right, it's
Yeah.
safe to go out, that thing couldn't hurt that.
Everything going fine then, since our last conversation?
You tell me.
I haven't heard anything.
We've
It
heard
it is
nothing.
on our end.
No news is good.
These sirens are a little loud when it comes by my house.
I'm
wakes me up.
sorry.
They're not as loud as they are in
Sorry.
Chicago. Jesus.
Oh, I live next to Ravenswood Hospital in Chicago up there. Yeah, all
Those
night.
buildings are straight up and everything echoes, oh my God, it scares you to death.
We did have a successful meeting, Ollie and I did, with Villa Grove, the city of Villa Grove last Wednesday, and looking at their municipal building and meeting with the key players that went into effect with that municipal building. I think Ollie's next step is to meet with Jeff and Craig Smith and see if they're interested in doing some sort of municipal building build out, because we did just sign a contract on the property to the west of the hospital, southwest of the hospital, the corner of like Court and 150. So there's some potential for some build out there. Not necessarily saying it's gonna go there or anything like that, just, we just signed an agreement to purchase that piece of it, waiting on some state right of way.
There's 2 houses that sit right there in the tree line and the property behind it. All the confused looking face.
Go with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Your house has been for sale for a while.
Lots of back to it.
Church builder folks, we get it put up no time.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
So they like that.
No doubt.
I thought it was on the
Church
street
builder
for a
folks are
while.
gonna build me a house
300 people.
today.
How many?
300.
Really?
They were parking down the cemetery, couldn't even park
I
close.
was by in the morning, there was nothing there, I went home at night, it's up.
Really?
Yeah,
Great.
That's quick.
yeah.
That's what
It's fine.
You're
Stop
okay,
looking.
okay.
What are you scared about?
I tried to get some compaction, don't worry
You
about
got the
it.
ambulance people here, you'll be all right. They know how to, they can treat.
You okay over there, Oliver?
They need a little
hope
more
that's not
envelope
Aaron
work
running
on
that
this
thing.
building. Don't get things where he isn't here.
Jesus.
Anything else from anybody? Maybe we better get out of here before the building falls
He's
in.
out there giving orders, that's.
Do we need a
I
closed
did-
session on personnel?
We do.
Probably real short.
Okay.
I did get a hold of John Tingley to go, he called me back and he's gonna look at that leak
Porch.
above, yeah, the porch leak. And he, I could actually thought he'd get with me by now, but anyway, he said he's gonna go look at him. World.
It's like an abyss where construction timelines go to die.
Augie, you said you had a couple things.
Well, really, the only thing I have is, the next study session that we have, the representative from the Census Bureau, Census 2020, is going to come and make a brief presentation. I talked to Jeff, and he thought that'd be a good idea. The whole idea is for, again, we're one of 7 states, I believe, that are in the Chicago region, and their plan is to get every county in every state to take the lead on doing the census. And so what our involvement would be, the way I understand it, and so please don't hold me to this, is either the county board will take it and run with it and administer it, or the county board will appoint somebody outside of the board, a community member, to go ahead and spearhead that project. So, but all the details, I know there were some questions as far as, are they gonna pay us anything, what kind of assistance, training, education? Well, that's what this guy's gonna come and talk to us about.
Why is it our responsibility
What? I'm sorry, our responsibility
to do the census?
well, it really isn't our
Yeah.
responsibility. It's what they would like to have done.
They want us to take over.
They want every county to be in charge of the census.
I don't think the counties will probably wanna do that.
Well, I guess it's, I mean, I can see it's to our advantage to be represented correctly. And if you just turn the federal government out and say, hey, go take care of them, and they're like, that was who answered. You know, I guess that's what their reasoning is. Don't know what difference it makes in downstate Illinois anyway.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
right. I'll give you
And, you know,
credit.
the federal law is that
About us
you
anyway.
have to do a census, you gotta
Right.
conduct a census. Now, how that gets done, I think that's the way this area manager would like to see it done. But it's my understanding that we're not under any obligation to get that done.
well, and I mean, the actual census itself is, we have no part in, right? So that's all mailed out and all the things, and there are people that,
Yeah, there are.
Yeah,
We go
there are.
around.
You know,
They
They're,
want-
they're actually going around now and verifying addresses. I've run into 2 people that are doing for it. They, they're on the federal payroll and went to a training in Arthur last month and were given a list of addresses to verify, and they're driving around and doing it.
Straw hats and horseback.
bearded fellow, I showed up at my house, counted my family, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So verifying addresses, I understand.
Yeah, that's the precursor for it.
They are not sending someone to go to every household.
Sure they will, yeah. If you don't respond, yeah.
Oh, if you don't respond?
Yeah, you weren't around for the last census probably, and before that you're too young. Yeah, when they do a census,
Not
they
here.
literally have people that
I mean, we should country.
are on the
I
federal
remember
payroll and
someone
go
came to
around
our-
and make
Donna
sure.
Bennett actually came to our house and was
Yeah.
asking questions 10 years ago.
Yeah,
The light in your face.
Anything
So
else?
that's what's coming.
Okay.
You'll get all your
I'm
questions
gonna start my
answered.
question list today.
so if you really want to help the county, you find some abandoned houses and you shuffle your kids to them real quick ahead of the person coming in. And
That last one.
maybe we can get our population up to 25,000 or so.
That'd work.
That's really all I have.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion Go
Make
ahead.
motion, executive session for, personnel. Very
Second,
short, very short.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay, go to executive session. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.